sometimes you don't want to face what you think you are,
Right.
and I felt like there was going to be way more weaknesses than strengths. Yeah.
Gotcha. Did you read the report when you got
Oh
the
yeah,
results from
I
Gallup?
did. I did.
Okay.
And I was shocked, to be honest with you,
In what
because
way?
I didn't necessarily see myself in those ways.
Okay. Surprised in what way?
Uh, Way more leadership than I would have given myself credit for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, a little less crazy than I would have thought.
And once I went through the explanation with you, then did you feel like they fit you and they did
Oh, yeah.
resonate? Okay.
Yeah, they did. Absolutely. And good to know. Um, I mean, sometimes I feel like my strengths can be a little overbearing, right? So I felt, at least if I know what they are, I can rein them in if I need to. Does that make sense?
Ex
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, and I'm glad that you got that message because that's what I try to do with each strength too, is I let people know there's pros and cons to everything in life,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
even with our strengths, so there's bridges and tunnels to each of them,
Yeah.
and so there's things to really lean into, and there's things to be mindful of, and
Right. Yeah.
those according to certain situations that you're in as well, so,
Right.
okay, and then how did you feel at the end of the meeting?
A little bit more relaxed about who I am, and that I'm actually doing some things right. And some people get a little, think I'm a little overbearing, I guess would be a good word, but over the top maybe.
Okay.
And I didn't I felt like, no, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And
Yes.
maybe it's their issue
Yes.
and their weakness, quote unquote, their, not their strength, but that their reaction to me is not necessarily me, but more them. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, awesome. I'm glad you got that message in. I'm
Yeah.
glad you felt that way after the meeting.
Because things change rapidly,
Yep.
especially in my world. You know me. I'm like, oh, let's start a business today, or let's, go quit all this what we're doing and shift to this. And so,
Which totally
um,
matches your strengths, by the way.
so I
That
think
is
that, yeah. So I think that if I had something to, like, a check in every 3 months, like, okay, where are you at today, and is that a good idea? That, I have to think about taking care of me. I've taken care of other people for so long that taking care of me is a very novel idea.
hallelujah. Finally, finally, you're seeing it.
So
Three things. One, first of all, happy screws all of us up.
right.
Happy screws all of us up because
Yeah.
happy is just another emotion like
Right.
every other emotion out there.
Right.
It is meant to come and go. It
Yeah.
is meant to be something that we experience, but it's not an achievement. It's not
Yeah.
something you obtain. And
Right.
so when we think like, oh, this is going to make me happy, that's going to make me happy, that's
Yeah.
not going to make me happy. No, they're emotions. You're going in that
Right.
job, whether no
Right.
matter what job you take, you're going to
Yeah.
feel happy and you're not going to feel happy. And
Right. I mean, I'm happy and unhappy doing what I do now.
that's
Right.
the way life goes. And that's
Yeah.
what it's meant to be. What you
Yeah.
want to look for is, do you feel at peace? Do
And that's
you
what I want
feel,
to feel. Right.
do
Because
you
I
feel
can't keep doing this.
content?
I've struggled with this for a long time, and I'm kind of
Right.
just done struggling.
And do you feel fulfilled? You've
Right.
always felt fulfilled by helping other people. But there's
Always. Yeah.
other ways to feel fulfilled too. There's other ways.
Yeah.
There's a way to feel fulfilled by is it's your mindset going into this job.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
go into it thinking this is a 9 to 5 grind, this is an
Yeah.
admin job, I hate
Yeah.
admin jobs, guess what? You're going to be miserable. But if you
Yeah.
go into it with the mindset is this is a new shift in my life, this is something new that I'm taking on,
Yeah.
and you go into it with the idea that you're going to enjoy parts of it, and some days they're going to suck, and but that's the way
Yeah.
life is anyway.
Yeah.
You're going
Yeah.
to make the most of it. The third thing is it can be temporary. You know,
Exactly.
you don't
Yeah.
have to do this job for the rest of your life
Right.
just because you take it now. You can say,
Right.
I'm going to do this for 2 years
Yeah.
and I'm going to see what else comes my way. I'm going to
Yeah.
see what else starts to unfold. What other avenues do I have that I can make my rent and cover my bills and make me feel secure financially? And
Yeah.
then this will be a stepping stone to that. So I
And
think you're very
yeah.
smart to do what you need to do for you. And
Yeah.
other people are going to give you their opinions, whether you ask for them or not.
Yeah.
And sometimes you want them, sometimes you don't. And you just, it's hard, but you have to learn to listen
Yeah.
to what resonates with you. And thank
Yeah.
you very much. But again, people always, their opinions are always based on their perspective through their lens of their experiences of what they're
Yeah.
doing for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really doesn't have anything to do with you and what's best
Right.
for you. It's what
Yeah.
they see,
Yeah. Yeah. So you'll be surprised by what you think you know and what's actually true.
Yeah.
So I think that's one. And don't sell yourself short. Embrace your strengths and really embrace your weaknesses, because if you can sort of uh, understand them, I think you can navigate things a little bit better, you know.
Right.
So, or
And then,
correct yourself in mid weakness, if that makes sense.
well, and the way that I understand the strengths is the bottom ones, I don't view as weaknesses. They are just not where you're authentic and what suit you the best. They're the ones that suit you the least. So when you go into those bottoms,
Yeah.
that's when you're doubting yourself. That's when you're trying to be more like somebody else. That's when you're thinking you should be rather than
Yeah.
what you are. And so usually
Right.
when we think of a weakness, we think of, oh, this is something that I need to build up to make stronger. Your bottom strengths, you want to leave those suckers alone. You want to try to like not be involved in those. You don't want to build them up and make them better because they're not you. They're not
Right.
authentic to you. They're somebody
Yeah.
else and they're great strengths, but just not for you.
Okay.
So that's one way to think of it too, as far as weaknesses.
Okay.
Just don't think about weaknesses because that's not weaknesses are for your muscles and for
Okay.
like that in your life. Not who you are. And
Okay.
you had already mentioned there's pros and cons to each strength. And
Right.
so you can be mindful of, hey, maybe I'm better when I use it like this rather than like that, or in these
Right.
situations these are probably better to try to pull from than those. But
Right.
again, it's not weakness.
Yeah.
It's who you are. There's no weak in you. There's no
Not
weak.
me.
No, there's no weak in us. We are who we are, and that's that. So that's one thing to try to keep in mind is those bottom
Okay.
ones are just, those are like the stay away, danger zone. I
Okay.
don't do well when I do
With
things
those. Okay.
from that. And then the last one is, after the experience of having the personalized strengths explanation, how would you describe what I do to other people, and what would your recommendation to others be?
Um, I would say you're really good at guiding people in a better direction. If you want to call that a life coach, great. But and you're very good at explaining what they are, just like you did. That there's not a weakness, it's just a lower strength. Stay away from them. I think you're really good at explaining and understanding, but you always have been. So I was thinking about this last night. And everything that you've done, you're so I don't know, you're an expert at it. So you do the research, you can tell that you're passionate about it. So just like with the essential oils, like if I ever had a question about an essential oil, you would be my go-to person, or you'd be the person I'd send people to. Um and the same with this. Like if you need to figure out who you are, then this is the person you need to talk to. Because I think you understand it really well and you're very passionate about it, and you have a way of having it make sense for people. Does that All right.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thank you. And that resonates with all my top strengths. So,
Yes, and it doesn't, and honestly, uh, as much as you want to work with kids, this is not just for kids, right?
absolutely.
I think if the parents know what their strengths are, maybe it better that able to help the kids with their strengths.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Love it. Thank you. And your number 5 is your compass strength. That's your go-to when you're starting to dip into somewhere that you don't belong. When you start to go into your bottom strengths, your number
okay.
5 is the compass that's going to get you back on track to your path and,
All right,
and
let me,
following your map.
so I'm reading like, number 2, it says one of the things about like things to watch out for. It's you may have a tendency to miss deadlines or run late for appointments. Make sure you keep track of the most important due dates and meetings. And the funny thing is, I am one person who is always on time,
Okay.
not early, which makes me giggle a little bit, but
That's for adaptability.
I think so. Yeah, that's the second one. Yeah.
And you're reading the Gallup report, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so see, their definitions are, they take adaptability just by itself.
Okay.
My definitions use that and incorporate that, but they're based on what strengths are around it.
Okay.
Okay. So that's why for you, you're empathetic. You're not going to
Yeah.
want to be late because you're going to feel bad for the person that you're leaving hanging.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why their definitions are just based on that strength in itself.
Yeah.
That's where I meld everything together. So
Okay.
yeah, that part of it doesn't necessarily fit you because you will be on time. You're going to be on time because you're going to feel bad. First of all, you're going to be on time because probably what you're doing, you're excited about. So you're an activator. So you have enthusiasm with it, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You're also going to be on time because you feel connected to somebody that you're going to go with, right? So you
Right.
want to be with them. You're looking forward to it, but you're empathetic. You don't want to leave, like I said, you don't want to leave them hanging.
Okay.
Strategic is also your number 9. That's up there too. So when you've made a plan, you like to make plans. You like to make a plan according to how it works for you. So if you're going to meet somebody at noon, you've already looked at and thought about everything
Okay.
going on in your life. Yes, this does work for me. So I'm going to be here at this time because I've made this plan.
Okay.
Okay.
What about responsibility? Why that's at 10? Why is that so low on the, am I not responsible?
No, your top 10 is your sweet spot.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Everything and even down to 13, 11, 12,
Okay.
13 still poke their heads in as your very strong sweet spots.
Okay.
No, number 10, and even if somebody were to have responsibility at say 33 or 32, whatever, real
Yeah.
low in the whole scheme of things,
Yeah.
doesn't mean they're not responsible. It
Okay.
just means they don't feel like the weight of the world is on their shoulders. They
Okay.
don't feel like they're driven by the fact that they can't let somebody down. They're
Okay.
driven by other things that are in their top strengths as to why they shine and why they do things well. But
Okay.
no, you're like this says, you're emotionally bound to follow through. Because you have such a connection to people,
Okay.
you want them to be able to rely on you.
Okay.
Yeah, so
All right.
responsibility is high for you. That's in your top 10.
Okay.
Yeah, and your top 10, sometimes people work well when they literally like their process is going through these 1 through 10 in order, but
Okay.
sometimes depending on a situation that you're dealing with,
Okay.
responsibility might pop up and be like, that's where you come from. Like in
Yeah.
this situation, if I'm taking care of your dog, I am going to be responsible for that dog. And I'm going to make sure no matter what, everything is taken care of and I'm accountable for that dog while you're gone. So in
Okay.
situations
Oh,
like
yeah.
that, it's going to rise up and it's going to, lead you through your top 10.
Okay.
Okay. They can
Okay.
like, mix up a bit. These just 1 through 10, like I said, even into 13, all of them, those are your sweet spots. It's just that number 5 is your core. So a ranger, you
Yeah.
are really good at, so like with a job, you'd be very good if they wanted you to try to come up with a better way of doing things.
Okay.
If you have some flexibility in this position to be able to say, hey, if I see that something could be done in a way that would flow better and make more
Yeah.
sense, and this would be better here and that person would be better
Yeah.
here, can I, am I going to have the space to be able to communicate that with you and take
Yeah.
charge? So there's your
Yeah.
communication strength, there's your command strength, and
Okay.
implementing it, there's your activator strength. Input
Okay.
is you're going to use resources, you're going to be a resource that people can come to,
Okay.
and you're going to be able to pull from other resources in order to get something done. So you're going to say,
Okay.
hey, I'm seeing this in a way that if this was here and this was like that, it would be
Okay.
better. Now,
Okay.
activator, I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and get that going for you.
Right.
Adaptability, and I don't have to be rigid about it. If somebody wants to chime in with their opinion, I'm going to take it on board.
Right.
I'm flexible and adaptable with it.
Yeah.
I know that we're all connected, and so I want this to work for everybody.
Okay.
And then I'm empathetic to other people's needs. So I'm not going to just set something up that's best for me. I'm going to set
Okay.
it up so that it works good for other
Everybody.
people. Yeah,
Okay.
I might not do their job, but I have a capability of understanding what their job is like. And
Okay.
so I want to help make it better for them.
Okay.
That's the arranger. And then again, input, you're going to pull from resources. Command, I can take charge of this and I can make sure that this gets done, especially
Okay.
when it's your plan. You're all about being able to like really take a good charge when it's
Yeah.
something that you've come up with. If it's
Okay.
something you don't really believe in, you're going to have a hard time with taking charge and doing it.
Yeah.
And then when you do take charge, it's not going to come off as authentic, and it's not going to come off as a peaceful charge and a charge
Okay.
that's good. It's going to come off as a charge that out of frustration, right? So that's
Mhm.
why all of your other strengths are
Okay.
important and make sense too. And then
Okay.
communicate. I'm going to be able to tell everybody about this change that I want to implement. I'm going to be able to have them understand it.
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
good at communicating things. I'm strategic in this plan, so I'm going to be able to create something new. I can see a new pattern. I can think it through before I just off the let my activator take full control and just go charge. I'm
Yeah.
going to be able to also make sure that this has a good plan to it too. You take a breath,
Okay.
take a step back, and then responsibility. I will own this and make sure that I am accountable if this does not work right, the way that I hope,
Okay.
the way I see it.
Okay.
I'm not going to blame everybody else for it. I will take responsibility.
Okay. I
But
mean,
because it's in the middle, it also isn't in your bottom, so you're not stressed by the future in terms of yes, you need to
true.
plan for it, and you need, because those are your strategic and everything, but you're also not like, no, don't make me think about tomorrow. I can't, I get too anxious, I'm stressed out. That's not how you roll either. It's meh. When you need to, you'll think about it, but it's not a driving force for you.
Okay. I was trying to figure out what woo meant, but
That's my number one.
it is?
Yes. Which, it's funny because when you were talking about
Which is so weird.
your reaction to these, I was like, woo, number one? No, I was like devastated. And it's win others over. So it means that you really want people to like you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, that sounds conceited. That sounds like
Right.
so, but when I think back, like, oh my God, I was called a flirt all through school. It's because I genuinely just like people and want them to like me. So I just want to connect. Connectedness is my core strength. That's my number 5. So, and I love that energy. Like,
Yeah.
meet somebody new, let's talk. And then
Yeah.
if we gel, great. And if we don't, then that's okay. And I gotta
Yeah.
then, like, move on
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
somebody else who I do. Not everybody's gonna like me, and I'm not gonna like everybody else, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's a woo. As far as time, adaptability, futuristic context says a lot about how people perceive kind of life in general,
Yeah,
depending on where it is. So for you, you're the be present, be in the moment kind of person. I'm going to think about today. I'm going to worry about tomorrow another time. I'm not going to go back to the past because it's over and done and it doesn't have a lot of benefit. Some people
okay,
live in context. They're like, hey, this is how our history has always been. This is what energizes me. We need to repeat, what we've always done before. They're all about family traditions and all that kind of stuff. They got to hold
okay,
tight to that. And so everybody's just motivated in a different way. You're all
yeah.
about the present. So when you go backwards, not so good for you. Competition, when you compare yourself to other people, not going to be good for you. Some
Where's
people,
that?
that's your number 29.
Oh, okay, let me go back down.
So when you go back and you say, oh my gosh, this Reiki person has
Oh,
it all figured out. Oh, these people have it all figured. Everybody else seems to have all this money that they need.
yeah,
What's wrong with me? Da, da, da. No, doesn't serve you well. Don't do
okay,
that. It's
okay.
my very lowest strength.
It is?
I go in a horrible place when I compare myself to other people. Yeah.
Huh,
Yep. Horrible place. I am so much better off if I just stay focused on myself and my people and how I'm doing things right now. I
yeah.
can't compare.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily strive to win first place, and I hate contests. I hate them.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah,
Exactly. I don't need to beat other people. Now, when I'm
right.
playing a game, I do like to win, but I'm not going to win because I want you to lose. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
I don't thrive off, and I certainly, like when I'm in the gym, I'll look at other people, I'll be like, oh my gosh, look at how much weight they're pulling. And
yeah,
I'm not anywhere close to that, but I'm like, all right, good for them.
yeah.
Whatever. Some people are
Whatever.
like, I gotta be able to do that too. No, not
No,
this
no.
quick. Deliberative is overthinking. So
Okay,
like this job, this potential, and especially when you get this Reiki person in your ear telling you
yeah,
this, if you start overthinking it and saying, oh my gosh, am I really gonna be able to do full time? Am I gonna feel like I'm stuck
yeah,
with people? Da, 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 da. It's not gonna go well. No matter
okay,
what, the job could be the best job in the world. It's not gonna go well for you because you're
okay,
overthinking too many things about it. You gotta be in the moment. Today, I'm doing this job, and that's all I need to worry about. Going there, doing my job, leaving,
yeah,
doing my thing that I enjoy to do in the evenings then.
yeah, yeah,
Don't overthink it. Don't make it bigger than what it is. This is also low for me. I create scenarios in my head, especially when it has to do with my kids when I'm worried about them. And all of a sudden I'm like, I think it's real and I'm
yeah,
stressed and because your body doesn't know if it's a real threat or it's a perceived threat, if it's something
yeah,
you're just thinking about or if it's
yes,
actually happening. Your
right.
body doesn't know, so it's going to respond the same
However, yeah,
the same
accordingly.
way.
Okay, yeah.
So I get myself all worked up about something that isn't freaking happening, but I've let myself overthink it and go down that rabbit trail. And I'm like, oh my God, stop. Harmony, you are not a peacekeeper, girl. And that is
No, is
okay.
that surprising to
There
you?
are other peacekeepers in this world. Let them do that job. It's not your job.
Yeah,
And when you feel like you have to compromise yourself for the sake of keeping the peace and not rocking the boat, not a good fit for you.
okay,
You need to be able to express yourself. You need to be able to have
okay,
your opinions. You need to be able to implement that arranger, what you see things to be able. That's why I said when you're looking for a job, make sure there's some movement in that job, that if you say, hey, if I see something isn't,
yeah,
am I going to be able to, or do I have to just keep
right,
it zipped and do my job to not rock the
right,
boat?
yeah.
That's
So,
where it's helpful to know other people's strengths.
yeah, yeah,
That's where, like, whether it be a boss employee or co-workers or parent child, whatever, when you have two people or multiple people working together, it's
yeah,
super helpful to know and understand their strengths, because then you would know how to approach in a manner that's going to resonate for how
with
they
that,
operate
yeah,
best, rather than come at from something that may be very offensive to them or very uncomfortable or
yeah, yeah,
trauma triggering or
right,
whatever.
yeah, yeah,
So that's where it helps. Now you have empathy, so I would say draw into that. think about their position. Like
Yeah.
you already said, an owner of the company already feels very possessive over the
Yeah.
job and the company and how things are being done. You know that because you have empathy to that. You can be
Right.
empathetic. So
Right.
again, it's all in the approach of, you know, and you know, you could say too, like, are you familiar with strength finders? God bless you.
Thank
The
you.
Clifton strengths. And if they say yes, then great, you can speak the language and start talking some of the strengths names.
Yeah.
If you're not, say, okay, well, it's something that I have gone through to understand myself better and how I operate best.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, you know, I can see how things might work best. That's just natural to me.
Okay.
I'm a go-getter. I will jump in 2 feet to a project, roll up my sleeves and get going now. And you know, you can
Yeah.
explain some of the stuff not using the strength name, but some of the stuff, and I can send you this recording so that you have some of the wording that I used earlier on some of them.
Okay.
And you
Okay.
could say, this is how I go about things. Are you okay? You know, what of that works with this job in terms of if I see something that maybe could be done in a more efficient way, are you open with that? Or do you prefer we do things, you know, just the way they are, you know, because that's what you've set up?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
wouldn't think something like that when you're asking in a question saying, these are my personal
Yeah.
strong suits.
Yeah.
Do you want to, you know, how much of those would you like to, you know, do you
Right.
feel comfortable implementing at some point in time? Obviously, you're not going to walk in the door and say, it all needs to change and I'm going to, you know, do a complete
Yeah.
root. And then analytical, you're not a data, you're not about the numbers, you're not, people are their measurements, you're not, oh, you know, your worth is based on how much money you have in the bank or what
Mhm.
kind of car you drive and things like that, or sit down and, you know, are you capable of going through spreadsheets and numbers? Sure, probably anybody,
Yeah.
like, but
Yeah.
is it your forte? Is this how
No.
you judge the company? Is
No.
on their numbers? No, you judge the company, like you said, the very first thing you notice is people oriented. I'm a relationship builder and I like to help people move forward. And
Yeah.
that could be even just a very simplified way of explaining some of your strengths to the person interviewing you
Right.
straight out of the gate.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I'm all about relationships and I'm all about helping to move people forward. That
Yeah.
includes the relationship of a company, you know, whatever,
Right.
you know, that's me in a nutshell. And if they don't
Okay.
want that and they literally just want you to be a bean counter, do, you know, be
Yeah.
an executor, nope, we just have these jobs we want to implement, that's it. Then yeah, your Reiki friends, right, you will be miserable with this kind of a
Yeah.
job. So that brings us to your next lowest strength, achiever, which is also
Okay.
low for me. You're not about your, that's not what drives you.
Right.
The money, that being able to say you charge this much,
Yeah.
accomplishing X is
Yeah.
not your drive. Maybe achiever is higher for her. Maybe significance is high for her. Maybe
Yeah.
some of those strengths are high for her, that numbers, whatever,
Yeah.
all are in her wheelhouse as to why she thinks that but it's not for you. It's not
Yeah.
for me. I would do my job for free if I could. If
Right.
I could,
Exactly.
and I know you'd give the shirt off your back to everybody that walked by you, whether you had another one at home or not, you know, like, but we do have to become realistic, like you said, and realize you need to pay your rent, you need to pay your bills, you need to lower your own stress
Yeah.
by not worrying about covering living costs. You
Yeah.
don't need to drive a Mercedes to feel like you're successful.
No, I don't.
A lot of people do.